During a recent trip to Sedona, Arizona, I had the opportunity to visit Cook's Cedar Glade Cemetery, the oldest pioneer cemetery within the city limits. The cemetery sits on land originally homesteaded by Henry Elmer Cook, who claimed 160 acres below what is now Airport Mesa. Although the cemetery was formally established in 1933, burials on this property began decades earlier. Records show that the earliest burials took place around 1918 during the influenza pandemic. But as we walked the grounds, we found graves even older, the oldest dating back to 1905 and 1911. After doing some research, I found that the 1905 grave, belonging to Pearl Schneble, was moved to the cemetery after it was established. I couldn't find any information on the 1911 grave, but this wasn't uncommon for frontier communities. Before formal cemeteries existed, families often buried departed loved ones on their own land, either out of necessity or because other plots were too far or too costly. Those early burials later may have become part of Cook's designated cemetery. They may have been on his homestead, or they may have been moved from another homestead when the town got its formal cemetery. Today, the Sedona Historical Society owns and maintains the Cook's Cedar Glade Cemetery, and their restoration work is impressive. Many graves with weathered or illegible markers have been given new plaques and headstones, yet the original stones remain in place as historic artifacts. On some of these century-old markers, you can still see the faint hand-carved inscriptions made by the families themselves. Even the once unmarked pioneer graves are now acknowledged with headstones. When you walk through the cemetery, you're walking through the resting place of the people who built Sedona from the ground up. They carved the roads, opened the first post office, planted the early orchards, started the schools, and even gave the town its name. Each grave is a piece of Sedona's beginning. Just a few of the pioneer families found here include the Cooks, who were the longtime stewards of the cemetery, the Purdymans, who were orchard keepers, farmers, and early community builders, the Jordans, who operated the area's largest agricultural ventures, and whose homestead later became the Sedona Heritage Museum, and the Van Direns, who were a family of cowboys and ranchers. Then there are the quieter early families, the Hedges, Pirtles, and Thomases, whose names appear in old ledgers and records. But perhaps the most well-known family is the Schnebles, the very family for whom the city is named. Sedona Arabella Miller Schneble and her husband, Theodore Carlton T.C. Schneble, arrived in the early 1900s and established an outpost in Oak Creek. Sedona quickly became beloved for her warmth, hospitality, and the home-cooked meals she offered to travelers passing through. When T.C. became the first postmaster, he tried to register names such as Oak Creek Crossing and Schneble Station, but all were rejected for being too long. At his brother's suggestion, he submitted his wife's distinctive first name instead. This time, the application was approved, and the town of Sedona was officially born. Sedona, T.C., and their daughter Pearl are all buried in Cook's Cedar Glade Cemetery. Their graves are among the most visited, drawing visitors who come to pay tribute to the family that helped shape the community. In recent years, however, living members of the Schneble family have gently reminded visitors to offer only their respect and leave only good thoughts, because even well-meaning trinkets can invite others to take too many liberties. For those who visit, Cook's Cedar Glade Cemetery offers a rare chance to stand face-to-face with the past, honoring the pioneers whose lives and labor helped shape the Sedona we know today. Cook's Cedar Glade Cemetery remains a lasting tribute to the pioneers who built Sedona, ensuring their stories and their impact are never forgotten.